So I bought this Kenwood KMIX over 18 months ago and did an unboxing and my first impressions video, which I'll link down below for you to check out. But today's video is a demonstration and an in-depth review of this mixer, which has somewhat become my favorite. But before I tell you why, first things first, I bought this mixer on AO.com for £199 and this video is not sponsored. A quick recap of my first impression though is that the mixer comes with various attachments associated with any standard electric stand mixer: a spatula, balloon whisk, a K beater, a spiral door hook, plus a splash guard and user manual. The mixer comes in various colors, but I picked this off-white whipped cream color simply as a matter of preference, and the glass bowl was mainly to make for looking into the bowl by viewers of my content. On observation, the weight of this mixer, more so the head alone, is heavy, and with the addition of a 5-litre bowl weighing 2.3 kg added to the body, this KMIX isn't just heavy but pretty steady. There's a release lever on the back which is pressed up whilst raising the mixer head at the same time to lock the mixer in place to set the mixer ready for use. Raise the lever again and tilt the head forward before releasing your hand off the lever. Prominent on the head is a slow speed outlet where additional attachments such as your pasta roller and mixer can be attached. The various recommended attachments are noted in the user manual for you. The splash guard used as a cover during mixing fits easily into place to seal the entire bowl off and has a feed tube on the side for adding ingredients. It has grooves marked on the inside and a dip marked on the mixer. The grooves slide into the markings, but later in this video I'll be elaborating on why my splash guard is broken. As a preference though, I am not a fan of splash guards, and for convenience I prefer to cover my mixing bowl with a kitchen cloth where necessary. The various attachments fits into the tool socket using these two prongs. Simply push the top of the attachment far up into the socket and twist in a clockwise motion to lock the prongs in place. Twist anti-clockwise to remove the attachment. The speed control knob on this side shows 8 mixing speeds varying from minimum to maximum and a fold function to allow the slow mixing of ingredients. The mixer ready light lights up when the mixer head is set over the bowl to indicate the mixer is ready for use. Tilt the head back and the light goes off. On the base of the mixer is a marker for where the bowl is to sit. The bowl is placed with a handle over the side of the unlock marker and the handle turned towards the side of locked marker to lock the bowl in place and ready to use. Besides the bowl handle and the spouts, the bowl also has measurements on the side in milliliters and cups and can hold a decent quantity of cake batter and buttercream, which is primarily what I use this mixer for. With this general overview of the mixer done, let's jump straight into using the various attachments for a red velvet cake, French buttercream and simple dough. I'll be giving you my thoughts based on the general task efficiency of this mixer, feel of use and speed variations during use. All the recipes are linked in the description below, and for the purposes of this review I'll be skipping to the relevant highlights to support my assessment of this mixer. Starting with the cake, in a glass bowl goes in some butter, sugar and a splash of vanilla. This is set to cream on the mixer using the K beater and the splash guard fixed in place. Creaming for a total of 6 minutes at speed 3.5 for the first 3 minutes. The mixer is stopped and the bowl is scraped in with a spatula. Creaming continues for another 3 minutes before the mixer is slowed down to speed 2 for the eggs to be added to the feed tube. The speed is raised back to speed 3.5 for 2 minutes before the rest of the ingredients are added. The flour is added using the fold function for about 40 seconds when the mixer is stopped. The butter is mixed by hand before dividing into 2 sphere tins baked at 170 degrees C for 55 minutes to an hour or an hour 15 minutes. While the cake is baking, let's whip up some French buttercream, which has had the egg and sugar mixture boiled over a double boiler and the warm syrup transferred into the glass bowl. This is set on the mixer to whip using the balloon whisk attachment. Whisked for a total of 15 minutes at maximum speed until it's cool, the syrup transforms into a foaming ribbon-like liquid. The mixer is slowed down to speed 2 and icing sugar is added. The speed is then raised to maximum for 3 minutes before room temperature butter and vanilla are added at speed 3.5. The speed is raised again to maximum to whip the buttercream for an additional 5 minutes, and that's our buttercream complete. Now it's time to try some simple dough using the spiral dough hook. First, some flour is measured into the glass bowl with some yeast, sugar and a pinch of salt. The mixer starts at speed 6 and a jar of lukewarm water and oil is added. After 2 minutes, I observe the dough isn't coming together, so I take the bowl off to manually mix the dough before setting the bowl back on the mixer on maximum speed for 2 minutes. But after what feels like a hurricane, the dough is done. Now that our tasks are done, what do I think of the mixer? I'll give it a 9 out of 10 for efficiency of all 3 tasks, and here's why. Making the cake meant the mixer ran for about 12 minutes in total and was fine throughout the various stages of making the cake batter. I liked the fold function for adding the flour, and even though I stopped to scrape the bowl in, I've since found that the mixer can cream the batter homogeneously without having to scrape the bowl in. The cake beater is also fitted to reach into the bottom of the bowl, aiding a good mix. For the buttercream, the mixer ran for about a total of 25 minutes, staying at maximum speed for nearly half of that time at different intervals, and was task efficient, yielding great results. The pizza dough was good, but I wasn't sure I knew exactly what I was doing with the dough. The noise levels from the mixer throughout the various tasks was smooth and bearable compared to some of my other Kenwood mixers. I like this sound best, even though I wish there was a silent mixer. Whilst making the dough, the sound got louder, and for a moment I thought the motor was giving up on me, but it settled quickly, and combined with the shaky worktop, 2 minutes seemed like a long time, hence I wouldn't recommend this mixer for dough making. It's worth noting that the buttercream and red velvet were tested much earlier on when I bought this mixer, and nearly 2 years later I feel the same about its efficiency and steady use. To the markdowns, I was never keen on the spatula that came with this mixer. I found it flimsy and unsuitable for the mixing task. For example, during the mixing of the cake batter, when I stopped to scrape the bowl in, the spatula would bend, causing me to swap to a different one. This was the same for the buttercream, and 2 years later, I never found a good use for the spatula, which I have eventually discarded. Also, with time, the cover of the slow speed attachment is loose and doesn't fit properly. It has occasionally fallen off into my batter, causing a panic, so I have had to stick it in place with a sellotape. The body has also seen a few scrubs, but this is hardly noticeable given that this mixer and my Kenwood Chef XL are the workhorses of my business. The marking on the base is beginning to peel, which I have stuck in place with a strip of sellotape too. The bowl has occasionally been stuck and has been a real issue to get out. This has become a persistent issue in recent times, and I wonder if that's something to do with the wear and tear on the plastic located on the bottom of the bowl and on the base of the mixer. The splash guard has been my least used item, and that's simply a matter of preference. It however broke when I got heavy-handed disregarding the fitting marks during the dough making process. Thankfully, it still fits on the mixer but requires a little caution and attention. Additionally, cleaning this mixer is also rather easy, especially with a wet kitchen cloth. To sum my thoughts up, should you buy this mixer? Simply my answer is yes, you should, because it's all worth it. But perhaps wait for a special discount sale to pick yourself one on a discount. But just in case you can't afford one yet, the video on screen is my honest review of a complete beginner-friendly mixer that's half the price. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.